My busy daily videos that I make all of you, I throw some videos in once in a while where I'm just sharing with you different perspectives or different things that I'm doing in my life. Sometimes I have a baby sailor with me, sometimes I have my granddaughters, our daughters, sometimes every few times I'll have my husband with me. But these are fill-in videos where I can share with you intimate parts of my life, and not everybody is interested in my homemaking videos and not everybody's interested in these, so it kind of balances everything out. I have a beautiful community of friends that love my videos and love when I share just about anything and everything. Like, I can count on them for everything, and I'm really happy to have such a beautiful community. Well, today I'm going to share with you something that I have not shared yet. Well, I'm going to share with you some things I shared with you and then updates on that. So many times I'll put a video out and I'll tell you something, but then I don't give you updates on things. And as the title is very, people would think, wait, what's she talking about? What happens when people find out that you have a YouTube channel? You know, it's not for the faint of heart. You know, our daughter says to us right now, Mom, having a newborn is not for the faint of heart. She's like, I never dreamed all of this would happen and all of that would happen and all of these stages that newborns go through. Yes, being a parent is not for the faint of heart, and you're a parent your whole life. Having a YouTube channel is not for the faint of heart. And for some people, it's not an issue having their YouTube channel. Then the bigger you get, the more issues you do come across. Then sometimes things can come out of the woodwork. I'm going to share with you a story of my childhood and then tell you a story about my stalker. Now, years ago I did a video about my stalker, and this was a stalker that I had for 9 years. But unfortunately, it wasn't my only stalker that I had, and it's not what you think. It wasn't a man. In fact, it was a woman. The woman knew me very well, but I didn't know her at all. And boy, oh boy, can I tell you a story about when people find out you have a YouTube channel. Majority of you who watch my videos know my story, know that my mother died in childbirth with me. I actually got a lot more information on her death, and as I did a lot of research. Now with modern technology, there's so many things that you can do that I couldn't do when I was younger. I couldn't go into medical records. I couldn't go into the day that she died. I didn't know the time that she died. I didn't know the time that I was born. I never had a newborn baby picture. I don't know what I looked like as a newborn baby. There's so much of my life I didn't know. And while I got a lot of answers, I didn't get all of my answers. So I had to put 2 and 2 together for some of the things. And why does this have to do with the YouTube channel? Well, sometimes people can come up in your past that you didn't even know they were in your past until you started making YouTube videos. Well, till you became in the limelight, so to speak. Now, I am not no superstar, nor am I anybody the public really knows about. But if you're interested in me, and you were interested in me ever since I was born, and you found out I have a YouTube channel, then you can get really into stalking. Ever since I was a little girl, when I was growing up, my mom and dad sheltered me a lot. They sheltered me from my adoption. They sheltered me from the outside world. I was very sheltered in a way that they just kept my life very peaceful and kept me away from drama and things like that. But as a little girl, my parents lived in the borough. Well, I don't know, they didn't live in the borough, but we didn't live in the country. We had a lot of land in the front of their home, and they would have a porch. And every evening we would watch Little House on the Prairie, but for the hour before that, my parents would sit on their front porch and watch the traffic go by. It was a 2-lane road. I mean, like, you know, they were each direction, but it wasn't a highway or anything like that. But I would love to go out in the front of the yard, and I used to do cheerleading. I used to pretend, you know, things I seen on TV. You know, I would take my baton and twirl that. But in my growing up years, my parents always kept me really close by, because what happened was I had a family member a blood family member, and I'm not going to say from what family, I'm not going to say who they are, I'm not going to say any of that, because it was an extended family member that would drive up and down my parents' road to watch me. Now, I was about 8, 9, 10 years old. And so, you know, my life wasn't revolved around drama, nor was I thinking of anything bad about it. There are certain things in my life that I do remember. I do remember my Mennonite grandfather coming to our house one time. I won't say on video what he said because I probably have people that are watching. But I remember me going to the door and my mom taking my t-shirt and kind of pulling me back and kind of saying, now Tessie, you come here. She didn't want me in that situation. And so, as you can see, they were very protective parents for me. Well, that was the story. And you know, my parents would always say, Teresa, come in here a little more, come in here a little more. And as I got older, they would tell me the story, you know, how they kept their eye on me and, you know, and things like that. On my YouTube channel, you know, many people didn't know who I was or know anything about me. But being on YouTube 9 years every single day, the word got out. The word got out. And I told you a story about a stalker I had. I told you the story, and it was terrifying. Of course, it was a woman, but I didn't know who this woman was. I told you the whole story about it. That video went viral, and that was a couple years ago when I actually got law enforcement involved in it. Well, that wasn't the only stalker that I had. And through the last 5 or 6 years, I had a woman that would literally drive up and down the road looking at me. And in the beginning, she would even drive in our driveway. I didn't know who this woman was. And so I was like, who is this woman? And like, why would she keep driving up and down our road? I'm talking every week. Well, she was driving up and down the road, up and down the road, up and down the road. And it got really bold. And I was like, this is just ridiculous. Like, why won't she say who she is? You know, well, then it got to the point where we would go out and we would just stand there looking at this person. Now, I've had more than one person do this. You know, I could tell you, I'm gonna tell you another story about a husband and wife too. But when people find out you have a YouTube channel, and then I had a woman in law enforcement said, well, Teresa, she said, this is somebody that knows you. This isn't a YouTube thing. This is somebody who knows you personally. And I'm like, I don't know this lady. I don't know her. And so finally, it got to the point that she kept doing this. So what I did is I turned my camera on and I went and I filmed her. And I got really up close to her. And then I figured out, wow. I take a film, what I do is when this happens to me and I don't know who they are, they don't tell me who they are, and it's a constant thing. We got security cameras. We actually have security, a lot of security. We also have other ways to protect ourselves. I'm very protected. But I realized who this person was. It was the same person that would stalk me when I was 8 years old. And it came full circle. And so law enforcement knows about this person, and you know, they didn't do anything, but they are so hyper vigilant in stalking me. And it was just fascinating to me because this was somebody from my adopted situation, and it was somebody I've never met, somebody I never knew, somebody who never met me in real life, but they are so super hyper were interested in me. After that, I didn't see them anymore because I got everything I need. I know I got the name, I got the location, I got the tags. And so with having the tags on the license plate, bam, we knew who it was by name only. And I heard so much about this person through my life and through my years that it's just fascinating when people find out you have YouTube. So case in point, let me tell you this really wild story. I have so many wild stories to tell you. One day, this husband and wife knocked on our front door, and I didn't know who they were. And nowadays, if somebody, you know, does this. I don't answer the door anymore, but I answered the door and they're like, hey, we watch you on YouTube. One, they never got my address from me. So it wasn't nobody I talked to, you know, with email, nobody I talked to offline. And they said, yeah, what we like to do is we like to find YouTubers and we make it a game to try to find out where they're from. They literally take Google mapping, they do all kinds of things. They showed up at my door, not once, not twice, but 3 times. They said they've gone to different states to look at YouTubers. They were older couple. It was so creepy. Like, it was creepy. Like, I was nice to them and everything, but it was so creepy because they didn't tell me they were coming. I didn't know who they were. It was nobody that I talked to, nobody that I have any kind of relationship with, and that's what they do. They went to Big Family Homestead, I think that's the channel name, that was a big channel back many years ago, and stood at their gate and were like, I don't know what took place then, but it was so bizarre. Like, they could have just took like a minute or two and like, it's just bizarre because we don't know who they are. And I've had so many times that I've had people from different states drive up and down the road and like gawk out the window. And it's like, all you got to do is just have a little common courtesy and say, hey, I'm going to be in the area. If you see me, this is who I am. But when you don't tell you anything, and then I'll tell you a really good story. I've met people that live near me and they were so respectful. They were so kind. They emailed me and, you know, said who they are. And I found some really good friends. Like, I love Jody. She's an amazing woman with her daughter and they live near me. They found me on YouTube and, you know, they introduced themselves online. They said who they are. And so it just amazes me how your past can come to your present. And so YouTube is not for the faint of heart, and especially if you get older or you've been on YouTube so many years or you get larger, you know, your channel gets larger. But it's been a wonderful situation for me. I've been so blessed by YouTube and so blessed with the people. So really, in retrospect, I never had any negative, really bad negative experiences by strangers on YouTube. They happened to be people that I knew when I was younger and people that knew me and my family, or people that knew about me and my family. My children are really supportive of me and having a YouTube channel. My 3 children and my children-in-laws, so their married spouses, are very supportive of me. My grandchildren are very supportive of me. My neighbors are very supportive of me. I have a really close neighbor that is a really close friend of mine. And so the neighbors are very supportive of me. And I think that it would be a hard situation that if a baby was given up for adoption, and then you see that baby grow up. I'm 56 years old, but you see her every day and you were never a part of her life. I can see that that would be a very hard situation. And I was told for years that my giving up for adoption was not, it didn't please people on my mother's side. My mother's side of the family, didn't have that agreement about having me being adopted. And so that caused a lot of hardships and a lot of heartaches for them. And so I do understand that when you're adopted and then blood from who knows how far down the road that was, relatives and things, it could be very traumatic and very interesting. I don't know how I would feel that if there was a baby in my family that was given up to someone, and then you get to see that baby grow up and be on YouTube, be on the camera, and not be in that baby's life would be very difficult. Through all of this, I have learned a lot about my adoption as far as coming to terms with it. I am 56 years old, but I have a mentality and a mindset probably still of a 16-year-old. I've been married very young, and a lot of my life has not grown up from that. And maybe it's just that's how I am. But being in the delivery room and seeing baby Selah born, and seeing a newborn baby. I cannot imagine giving a baby up. And I cannot imagine that nobody in the family would take a baby. I can't imagine that. Extremely blessed through being adopted. I enjoyed being adopted. I'm thankful that I was adopted. I thank my birth father every day that I was adopted in my mind and in my heart. But in my situation, my story turned out very well, and I'm very happy in life. But I would never, ever give up a child. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. I would love that child and give that child everything. And I'm so thankful that Selah and my grandchildren and my children are a big part of my life. So when you make a YouTube channel and you're out there for the world to see in the public eye, you never know what people are going to stumble past your YouTube channel videos. And you never know how things can crop up from things that you had no control over back when you were a baby. It's something else. And I don't have my mommy and daddy to protect me anymore like I did. But I do have my family, and I wouldn't be here today if I didn't have my family. My husband and my 3 children and my grandchildren and their spouses. I'm very blessed to have a world of people who love me and who I love, and I have a really tight-knit community here. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you guys on the next one.